Okay, mic check, 1, 2. And I think we're live. Let me just double check. Should have been prepared before I started, but you know what it is. Yeah, just a quick little live stream, nothing too crazy. Got nothing planned today, so thought I'd fire up a quick live stream. Going to watch the boxing tonight, at least for the DAZN card. That starts a bit earlier in the UK, so the DAZN card looks pretty decent anyway. Munguia versus Cez Moreta. I think that'll be an okay fight for what it is. And Bektemir Melikuziev versus Gabriel Rosado on the undercard, which I'm looking forward to. So that DAZN card's not too bad, to be honest. It's pretty decent for what it is. Big up to the Shepherd of Sons in the building. Salute to you, sir. Salute to you. Hang on, I've got a fucking million things open here in the background. There we go. There we go. Salute to Shepherd. Big up to you, man. Hopefully you're keeping well. Nordic Warrior in the house. Big up to the Nordic. Hopefully you guys are well. Yeah, the fight this weekend I'm looking forward to most is Melikuziev versus Rosado. It's a good step up for Melikuziev because, you know, Melikuziev right now has got a lot of hype. He looks for goods, got a great style to watch, extremely aggressive, excellent body puncher. But Gabriel Rosado is a guy who, if you're not good enough, he will expose you. Whether he beats you or makes you look terrible, if you're not good enough, he will expose you. I like this fight for Melikuziev right now. I think it's a perfect measuring stick of where he's at in his career, just how good he is right now and how good he could be in the future. So we'll find out a lot more about Melikuziev after tonight. So I'm looking forward to that fight. So yeah, we got the DAZN card, Munguia versus Cez Moreta, with Melikuziev versus Rosado on the undercard. You've got Jamal Charlo fighting Juan Montiel. That's going to be a mismatch, but a couple of good fights on the undercard. Aaron Almeida versus Emmanuel Leo, and also Isaac Cruz versus Francisco Vargas. That's a decent little fight. You've got Naoya Inoue against Michael Dasmariñas. You've got some decent fighters in action. A few mismatches, but still some fights to look out for. No worries, Bump of K, man. There's no need to apologise, man. Don't sweat it, man. We've all got to be on that grind, man. I know how you feel. Sometimes I feel like I've not got enough time in the day with what I want to do, but you guys know how it is, man. You got to make time, and that's one thing I'm not great at, is managing my time effectively. But there you go. Salute to big up to G-Man Boxing. By the way, G-Man, I checked out your crime channel, your true crime channel, when I was working on Friday. So I always have, I look for things to listen to while I'm working. And yeah, man, I enjoyed your first two videos, man. At some point, what I'll do, G-Man, I'll shout you out on my second channel at some point. So yeah, I liked the videos though, man. I enjoyed the videos, especially the one on David Berkowitz. Yeah, indeed, Nordic. He is, yeah. He's not fucking around. He was going to fight Kovalev. That fight fell through. Now he's fighting Rosado. I mean, it's a decent step up, isn't it? It's a good step up. No worries, Junior, man. I'm recovering from yesterday, man. I was watching the football. I got a little too wavy. And I don't mean drunk. I had some of those edible things, and I overdid it. And I was fucked. Yeah, Inoue, yeah, more than likely, Andre. Dasmariñas, seems to hit pretty hard, comes to fight. He knocked out Karim Gurfi not so long ago. So he's decent, Dasmariñas, but yeah, Inoue's going to fucking kill him. Wild as a dosser. Big up to Jim McDonald Boxing. Yeah, welcome back to Disturbed Reality. And yeah, Ben, hey guys, Delboy here. Do you know what, Andre? I'm leaning towards Leo, but got a sneaky feeling there could be an upset there. But I'll say Leo. Do you think Jaime Munguia will stop Camille faster than Golovkin? Great content, cheers. And thank you for saying that, bro. I think Cesc Moreta might hang around for a little bit longer. If he gets stopped, I think he'll get stopped in like the last sort of 3 rounds or so. But I think he'll hang around a little bit. Yeah, I'm half watching it, Andre. They're not looking great right now. Can't really talk shit though because we was awful against Scotland. I was watching it, but I wasn't watching it. I was kind of high as fuck, so I couldn't really take in the game. But I knew we was shit. We hit the post, and that was about it from what I can remember. No, Leo, no, no. But you never know, man. Tournaments are funny. I mean, if we're being honest, the only team who's looked really good in these Euros so far is Italy, in my opinion. Belgium look okay as well. Inoue or Denaire, who is the bigger puncher at 118? In my opinion, Denaire has more one-punch power at that weight. I agree, G-Man. In that left hook is the single biggest punch at 118. I think Inoue carries more variety. Like, he hits hard with every single shot, even his jab. His power basically crosses across all of his punches, whereas Denaire's more like one-dimensional, but he's got that one-hitter quitter with the left hook. Yeah, especially not with Gareth Southgate, Ryan. He's not a good manager. I think we've got talent there, man, especially in the attacking areas, but Gareth, to me, is just not a proper manager. Munguia fight is going to go the distance, in my opinion. Yeah, Cesc Moreta can look after himself. He's a good European-level boxer, so I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Lopez versus Dogbay. That could be the fight of the weekend. I keep on forgetting about that fight, Nathan. To be honest, I like Isaac Dogbay, but I think he's too small for that weight class. Those Navarrete fights took a lot out of him, in my opinion. So I might lean towards Adam Lopez in a war, but that's a great fight. That's a great fight. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Andre. I think people are writing him off due to those fights. I think for me, it's like, isn't he moving up a couple of weight classes? Which kind of makes me a bit, hesitant in backing him. Because I liked Dogbay when he was a champion. I know he wasn't a champion for long, but like when he beat Jesse Magdaleno, I thought that was a good performance. Looked really good that night. Yeah, it's not coming home. I would rather Portugal, Andre. I do like Portugal. They're one of my second teams, I guess you would say. My second teams are like Holland and Portugal. Inoue, Charlo, and Munguia are all good to watch. Fancy all 3 by knockout, I would agree. Yeah, worth a bet. What's with Gareth not putting on Sancho? You tell me, man. That's one thing I thought about the Croatia game. There wasn't enough pace out wide, in my opinion. Everyone's getting gassed about Jack Grealish, but I think we need more width in that team, honestly. Somebody who can beat a man, and I think Sancho's that sort of guy. But there we go. Gareth Southgate is the textbook definition of a yes man. Yeah, he did. He doesn't look fit, Carlos, Harry Kane. He doesn't look fit. Okay, so Tommy Frank lost again to Granaros. Okay. Didn't Granaros lose to Sonny Edwards? Nathan, I'm sure he did. Does Ryan Garcia hit harder than Lomachenko? Yeah, I would say so. Bigger dude, man. Bigger dude. Italy have shown in the past that they can win tournaments while not playing great. The fact they're playing actually good football bodes well. Yeah, indeed. I'm really enjoying watching Italy, Tone. Usually with Italy, they'll kind of, they basically shithouse their way to victory kind of thing. You know what I mean? They're very tactical, defensively savvy. Not usually great to watch, but this Italian team right now are playing some good football. Golovkin smashing up Rosado a decade ago in his prime, and Rosado still giving tough fights. Shows how good Golovkin is. Yeah, Rosado is tough as old boots, man. He really is. Got a lot of respect for Rosado. He could have 20 losses and I'd still watch that guy fight. I'd still watch that guy fight. Always comes to fight. Yeah, De Bruyne, yeah, he's very good. Adam Ellis, big up to Adam Ellis Tutorials. Del Random, but do a video on Ken Bigley for the Disturbed Reality channel. Very interesting story. I know what you're talking about, actually, Adam. That's definitely a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. There's so much content out there I can cover. I was thinking of doing the Dagestan Massacre next, which is, in my opinion, I find that to be one of the worst videos out there, to be honest. But yeah, that'll be a lengthy one, I think, though. But yeah, I'll definitely look at that at some point, Adam. Rosado Melikiusev's going the distance. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked at all. Yeah, Ryan Garcia, listen, you can say what you want about Ryan Garcia. I've got my problems with him, but he clearly hits hard. He's clearly got power. Do you know what, Andre? I really enjoy watching Munguia fight. I know he's not everyone's favourite, but he's good value for money, man, when you watch Munguia. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get that guy come forwards, throw a million punches, and go for a knockout. So I like Munguia. I like Munguia. I think he'll get found out when he steps up. But until then, I enjoy his fights. Yeah, Blair Cobbs, Brad Solomon might be okay. Cobbs is okay to watch, but don't rate him too highly. Yeah, I agree, Nathan. I don't really rate Blair Cobbs whatsoever, to be honest. And if Brad Solomon is on his game, wouldn't be shocked to see an upset, or at least like maybe a controversial decision. Teofimo and Ryan over Devin Haney, even though I like Devin. See, I'll put Devin over Ryan, Teofimo over both. I've got to say Devin's over Ryan right now. Devin's got a better win in Linares for me. I hope it goes well, Andre. I hope it goes well. Again, I'm playing it by ear, really. I'm not like, there's no real set plans for that channel. I'm just, doing it as I go kind of thing. See what works, see what doesn't work. And we'll see where it takes us, man. Yeah, I think that's a good sign-in, especially on a free transfer. It's a good sign-in. These old fighters getting into the ring again is a disaster waiting to happen. The media is waiting to pounce on boxing as soon as one of these old heads gets hurt. Well, yeah, you could say the same thing about YouTube boxing as well. When one of these guys gets fucked up, then yeah, questions are going to be asked by the media. And you know what they're going to do. They're going to, like you say, they're going to go on that bandwagon, ban boxing or reform boxing. You know how it is. My whole thing on the YouTube boxing and old boys coming back, I've got no problem with it, to be honest. It's just really a symptom of where boxing is at. If boxing was kicking and doing really well, there wouldn't be as much of a place for these exhibitions. They've always happened, don't get me wrong, but they wouldn't happen to this extent if boxing was super healthy and in a good place. So when I hear boxing fans complain about like the exhibitions, I see where they're coming from, but I think it's just a symptom of a bigger problem, to be honest. If Ryan stopped Campbell and Devin couldn't stop Linares, who's been knocked out 5 times? Well, yeah, I guess, but I mean, the thing is, AJ, you can say that, but the fact is, Ryan Garcia could have fought Linares. It was scheduled, it got cancelled, and it never got rescheduled. So Ryan could have done that himself, but he never fought him. So I can't really give Ryan credit on that. I can't give him credit. Inoue versus Donaire 2 or Inoue versus Ioka, which would you want next? They're both sick fights, but I would say Inoue Donaire 2 just for a unification. Exhibitions have always been in boxing. All of the greats did exhibitions for extra money. Indeed they did. Yeah, indeed they did. I think what it is now, it's the extent of these exhibitions, how many there are. It feels like right now there's one every fucking week, doesn't it? Kind of thing. I'm a boxing head, but I hope Anderson Silva beats up Chavez Jr. So do I, man. I like Anderson. Del, is it just me, or is Campbell Hatton extremely hard to like? Something very odd about him. Yeah, he tries too hard to be that, that lad kind of thing. He's trying to fit into that lad culture. You know how Dave Allen basically tried to kind of get into that culture, like football lads kind of thing. It's not really for me personally, G-Man. It's not really for me. I thought so, Nathan. People like Jamal Charlo, Caleb Plant, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and Tank piss me off. Yeah, I'm not a fan of many of those fighters you've mentioned, to be honest, if any of those fighters. See, I quite like Tank Davis, but he's not being moved correctly. He's not giving us the fights we want. Although I do like this Barrios fight. I can't lie. I do like this Barrios fight. Thoughts on Marku versus Prodan? Good fight. Prodan didn't look impressive in his last fight, though. I need to see more of Prodan, to be honest, Nathan, but he's got a fancy record, a few knockouts. So we'll see. It's not like Marku is a blue chip prospect, so could be a decent fight. Yeah, exactly. Campbell Hatton's a gimmick being used to generate viewers and sell tickets. Shameless from Hearn. I mean, it's his job, really, isn't it? I mean, if any promoter would do it, to be honest. Can't really. I'm not a big fan of Hearn, but I can't put that on him. I think anybody would like to work with Campbell Hatton in the UK. I wonder what Diaz's game plan will be against Fortuna. Yeah, I know. It's a weird one, man. I mean, I think Jojo Diaz is naturally a better boxer, but he's not a lightweight, man. He's just eating himself up to lightweight. So I'm not sure on that fight, to be honest, Andre. Not sure about it. Who should Rungvisai? I can't fucking talk. Who should Rungvisai fight in the meantime? Well, they're talking about Carlos Cuadras. That's what they're talking about. Yes, big up to Big Boys Boxing, man. By the way, check out Big Boys Boxing's channel. Covers heavyweights. Covers the division quite extensively. So check out Big Boys Boxing, based in New Zealand. Really good channel, man. I think it's just okay, Haydar. I mean, it's not when Hearn was kind of talking about it, he was expecting something massive, but it's not what he was promising. But it's some decent fights. I'm not going to shit on it too badly, but it's not exactly game changer, is it? Like he said. Now Campbell is just on Ryan Garcia's nuts, sticking up for him every second. I know, man. It's cringy, Andre. I've always said this about Luke Campbell. You know, before the Ryan Garcia fight, I said this guy he's one of those guys who never really translated his amateur pedigree to the pro game. Ultimately, he's always going to come up short in pro boxing. He's not got a mean streak. He's too passive, in my opinion. He's not made for an elite level pro. I was shocked to see so many people pick him to beat Ryan Garcia, honestly, knowing what sort of fighter Luke Campbell is, but there you go. Big up to Nez Mendoza dropping by, man. Salute to Nez. Barrios has a chance to KO Tank, in my opinion. I think it's a risky fight, Nez. I do. Barrios is a much bigger, longer man. He can punch a little bit. You know, he's a genuine 140-pounder, so it's an interesting fight. I quite like it. Will Helenius beat Kaunaki in the rematch? I think it's 50-50, bro. Both guys have like dodgy chins. Both guys defensively aren't exactly the greatest. It's going to be a 50-50 fight, a bit of a shootout, in my opinion. I've got a gut feeling Kaunaki's going to win for some reason, but I'm not going to make my official pick yet. Yeah, there's a few, bro. There's a few. So the Jamal Charlo Montiel card is the main event isn't great, but there's a couple of good fights on the undercard, like Aaron Almeida versus Emmanuel Leo. That's a good fight. Isaac Cruz versus Francisco Vargas should be fun while it lasts. Melikuziev versus Rosado on DAZN. Munguia versus Cesar Moreta on DAZN. Inoue versus Michael Dasmariñas on ESPN. There's a few fights out there. Has Conor Benn even won the British or Commonwealth European title? Once he's exposed, people will say, why didn't he go down the traditional route? Yeah, right now Conor's kind of fighting these faded gatekeepers, guys like Vargas, Granados, and I can see the benefit of those fights, but I want to see him clean up domestically. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Michael McKinson in his next fight, and after that, David Avanesian. Those are the sort of fights I want from Conor Benn personally, but yeah, exactly. That's how I feel, Nathan. It's decent. There's a couple of solid fights on there, but overall, it's not exactly what Eddie was promising, in my opinion. I do like the Buatsi fight. I think Richard Bolotniks is on really good form right now. He won the light heavyweight golden contract and looked good in that tournament. So I think Bolotniks is a good step up for Buatsi, kind of what I've been asking for. I like Tommy McCarthy versus Chris Billum-Smith. I like Galahad versus Dickens too. There's another fight I liked as well. I forgot what it was, but there's a few fights I like on there. Yes, big up to Jed Kyle from Down Under. Big up to Jed. If Ricky Hatton's muggy fans want to support Campbell, then let them get fleeced. Exactly, Tone. That's all it is, really. It's all nostalgia. It's all nostalgia. We've all spent money with like nostalgia in mind on a certain product or whatever it may be, yeah. And when we get it, it's not what you remember, and it's disappointing. That's what Campbell Hatton's going to be. Haydar, he says, who has the better pay-per-views, Sky or BT? I think BT only ever had 1 or 2 a year, and they're actually worth it. And like Parker, Chisora, it's hard to say, man. I struggled to keep up with who puts on what, but yeah, it's what it is, man. When Campbell Hatton gets beat, which I think could be very soon, will the promoters just bin him? I don't think so. They'll try and rebuild him at least once. Anderson Silva doesn't stand a chance. I agree. Unfortunately, yeah, he will, Nathan. He will. I think Tank will win. I think Tank will win. Though they picked Barrios for a reason. Strategic move up in weight to grab a paper title at 140. Yeah, that's what it is on paper, Jed. But sometimes the powers that be get these things wrong, and the term a cherry pick gone wrong. I see this fight as maybe something like that could happen, but I'm picking Tank. I'm picking Tank to win, but I think Barrios could be dangerous. How long will the How long will the Jake Paul boxing gravy train go on for if he keeps beating opponents? Yeah, until he loses, man. Basically, I think he'll beat Tyron Woodley, although I think it's a better fight than what he's fought so far. So we'll see how he does in that fight. I've got no real problem with Jake Paul doing what he's doing. If Kalnacki can get through the first 4 or 5 rounds, he should be able to get Helenius with his gas tank. Yeah, exactly. That's how I'm feeling, Big Boys Boxing. I totally agree. And for some reason, I think he'll do it this time. It's just a gut feeling, no particular reason. I've got a feeling he'll win this fight. But it's a good fight, though. Ben is being matched well against shop-worn gatekeepers at the moment. They are matching him well, in my opinion, no question, but he has improved a lot. Yeah, Conor Ben's definitely got a lot better in the last sort of 2 years or so. He's definitely improved. I think the matchmaking recently has been good, but, it's getting to that point now where the hype's getting to a certain level to where I think we should expect something, semi-interesting, like an Avanesian, even a Michael McKinson. You know what I mean? So I think Helenius cracks the egg, Kalnacki again. His punches are too straight and down the middle for Kalnacki, who just does not stay off the line. Yeah, that's true, Jiho Park. That is very true. I'm leaning towards Lopez, but I think it's going to be a war, Jazz. I think it's going to be a fucking war. Conor begging for a Khan fight doesn't look great. Yeah, I mean, it's like Kelbrook 2.0, isn't it? With Conor Ben, he's begging for a Khan fight. I mean, fair enough. If he gets that fight, it makes sense. It's great for his profile, but does it really do anything for his technical development? I'm not really convinced by that. I think Avanesian would be a fight in which we would all be excited for. And if Conor won that fight, then that's a massive, massive look for him. I love the idea of Conor Ben versus Avanesian, but Team Ben right now don't seem too interested. Exactly, Jed. It's a European title fight. Avanesian's not one of those weak European champions either. He's a genuine European level champion, maybe even fringe world level, to be honest, Avanesian. So that'll be a good fight. Yeah, Hearn basically said Avanesian is too risky at the moment for Ben. Yeah, again, I'm paraphrasing, but what he basically said was, we see the great numbers Conor Ben is doing right now, and we're not going to put him in a 50-50 fight. That's basically what Eddie said. So, yeah. What do you think of the rumoured Valdez versus Consejo fight? It's decent. Robson Consejo was obviously an Olympic gold medalist. He's got a fun style. I think Valdez beats him comfortably, but it's a decent fight. And I'm assuming Shakur's going to fight Jamel Herring, and then the winners are going to meet. So I've got no problem with it, to be honest. In terms of pure promotional skills, I would say Eddie Hearn. Just in terms of pure promotional skills, getting people hyped up. I think he'll go to 154, Andre, and maybe fight a domestic dude. He'll go straight in at domestic level, maybe a Cheeseman or someone like that. Who knows? Maybe an Anthony Fowler. Barrios does have a legitimate chance to win, in my opinion. I agree. Yeah, Avanesian's a solid European level / fringe world level contender. I agree. Yeah, hit the fucking like button, man. Indeed. Yeah, I've not really seen the opponent Jay Harris is fighting. I know he's Mexican, but that's all I really know, so can't really comment. Was looking forward to the Zone UK until I saw Harley Quinn at Fight Camp. The guy's such an attention seeker and brown noser. Can't see how you can be proud of to be such a suck up. Yeah, Tony Bellew is what he is, man. You know how Tony Bellew is. I thought we would get rid of Tony Bellew. Yeah, Anderson Silva is beyond shot. Yeah, it's going to look ugly in there, as bad as Chavez Jr. is. Yeah. Yeah, please, yeah, smash the like indeed. Sup, big up to Fight Film. Speaking of Tank and MMA, rumour has it Poirier had to KO Conor to get a better deal in the rematch. I suspect Tank puts these clauses on his opponents. Look at the Pedraza fight. Yeah, Pedraza in that fight, man, fought such a dumb fight. It gave away his reach. You know what he does well. He's a good technical boxer from the outside, real smooth and whatnot, decent at maintaining range. But against Tank, he was super aggressive, man. You know, sitting in the pocket, not really fighting his usual fight. Now, he might have done that because he was just gassed. You know, not gassed, I mean, drained, sorry. But, yeah, that all goes on in boxing, man. 100%. These certain clauses. How do you think Spence versus Pacquiao goes? Spence's resume is looking like one of the best in boxing right now. I wouldn't go that far with Spence. I think Spence, in terms of like the newer welterweights, is doing the best, but I wouldn't say his welterweight's one of the best in boxing. Sorry, his resume's one of the best in boxing. But that fight, I mean, it's always hard to say when, with Manny Pacquiao being 42 years old, coming off a 2-year layoff. But if it's the same guy from Keith Thurman, I think he'll give Errol Spence Jr. fits early on. It's how he copes as that fight, you know, carries on and gets a bit later. But I think it's a dangerous fight for Errol Spence even now. I think it's a dangerous fight, but I'm just looking forward to it, man. I think it's going to be a very good fight. Again, gun to my head, I would pick Errol Spence, but Pacquiao's proved me wrong before, so one of those ones, man. Yeah, Sanchez and Jagba, yeah, that's a good fight. I'm leaning towards Sanchez, big boys boxing. I'm leaning towards Sanchez in that fight. He's still licking his wounds, Haydar. He was calling out Conor Benn the other day. Yeah, Jagba Sanchez is a good fight. Both guys in similar positions. Exactly. That's what you want with these heavyweight prospects or any prospects. You know, when they're at that sort of level, fight each other. So why not? Why not? Going to make for an interesting fight. Does Canelo ever get beaten? Personally, I don't see it. I can't really see it in the next year or so, to be honest with you. It's not his time to get cashed out yet. He'll lose again. He'll lose again, but not yet. Yeah, DAZN are pretty decent, to be honest. Right now I can't really complain. I'm actually subscribed to DAZN. That's the only thing I'm subscribed to in terms of boxing. I don't have Sky, BT, or anything like that. I don't usually buy pay-per-views unless I'm with my friends. But yeah, DAZN at £1.99. I can't really turn that down. Shakur versus Herring will be worse than Vladimir versus Hay. Yeah, that's going to be a fucking dull as ditch water fight. Shakur, man, I just can't watch that guy fight. Not right now, anyway. I'll watch him when he steps up, but I can't watch that guy fight yet. I watched highlights of Nakatila, and even that was tedious. I mean, the guy he was fighting, man, he looked strong and whatnot, but his balance was so fucking bad, man. One shot at a time. You know, useless opponent, man, and he never went through the gears. Shakur's a hard sell, man. He really is. He's just I would call him like a fringe level top 10 guy, J9898. He's decent. He's okay. And he could give Tank problems, man. Like I say, Tank can't really mess with the elite guys at 140, but can he mess with like a fringe level guy like Barrios? I'm not convinced. So we'll see. But who knows? Maybe Barrios has some sort of rehydration clause or something like that. He's a big dude, so don't be surprised to see that. Yeah, Barrios will fight like an idiot and get stopped, in my opinion. Could be right, man. If he needs to obviously maintain his range and utilize that height and reach. Like Tank's, everyone talks about Tank's fast hands, his explosiveness, which is true, but his feet are fucking slow, man. He's got that Adrian Broner footwork where he drags his back leg, if that makes sense. You know, if Barrios can stick that jab and move, you know, step off a line, he should give Tank a real hard fight. Tank's not good at cutting off a ring, closing the distance, you know, drawing the lead and coming inside. He's not particularly great at that. Tank's better when somebody's coming to him and giving him openings, but you know, we'll see what Barrios does. We'll see what Barrios does. Yeah, Bellew's a weirdo shill outside the ring. See, I always hear Americans complain about like US coverage of boxing, and it is bad, don't get me wrong, but like, that's a refresher after I've listened to Sky Sports, honestly. I'd rather listen to Dan Goosen and fucking Lennox Lewis on PBC than Tony Bellew. Fucking hell, nearly blocked you there, Nez. Sorry, mate. Nearly. Yeah, it looks like that's going to be the case, XNB. You know, Bellew hangs around like a bad smell. You know, you do those farts which hang around for far too long. That's what Bellew is. Most of the Matchroom crew act like weirdos. Yeah, it's like a job for the boys type of clique, innit? Pac says it's good he had a 2-year layoff and he was healed. Yeah, that's true, you know. Yeah, that could work either way, couldn't it? It could work either way. I wonder one thing I do wonder, you know, that like if I think Manny needs to start really quick in that fight, try and catch Errol with some good shit early on. And if that does happen, does Errol Spence revert to how he boxed against Mikey Garcia? See, he said, well, I don't buy it. He said he boxed Mikey to show that he could box. I think he was caught with something a little sharp, and it kind of made him box behind that jab and be a bit more circumspect than he usually is. I wonder what happens if Manny starts really well. Does Errol box like that? Does he start boxing behind the jab, not being quite as gung-ho like he usually is? I wonder. Yeah, Manny's straight left. Yeah, Manny's straight left is always a problem, man. I'd be looking for it to that gut as well of Errol Spence. I agree, yeah. Taking Manny Pacquiao aside, I think Spence does have the best resume at welterweight. I actually quite like Errol Spence, to be honest, in terms of his style. I don't mind Errol Spence. Pedraza's looking good at the moment, in the mix at 140. Beat Julian Rodriguez easily, just a level above, yep. Oh yeah, 100%, Jed, 100%. Wouldn't it be fantastic if Jared Anderson's opponent turned out to be Michael Polite Coffee? Yeah, it'd be nice. He's fighting a Russian dude, what's his name? Vladimir Tishkin or something like that. He's got a fancy record, like 22-0. Vladimir Tereshkin, I believe his name is. And he has got a record of like 22-0, one draw. So he's got a decent record. How good he is, I don't know. Pretty Boy Kelly, his downfall was always going to be that he made so many mistakes but got so much praise. So the fall was always going to hurt, yeah. Just one of those, you know, guys he got by on athleticism. No fundamentals there with Josh Kelly at all. That'd be interesting, yeah. I do wonder about Tank's chin. Just when you see him get touched up, he doesn't look too comfortable. Even the Leo Santa Cruz fight, I felt he was like, you know, wasn't liking getting hit. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to that Tank fight for some reason. Maybe I'm fucking wrong. Maybe Mario Barrios is going to lay an egg, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, Shakur definitely is not exciting or entertaining as Tupac Shakur, that's for sure. Yeah. And he just comes across as a little fucking brat as well, which I don't like. Just can't get behind that guy at all. But we'll see. I think he's a talented fighter, but still got a lot to improve on. I don't get what it is, yeah, about these US Olympians. One thing I notice, yeah, about a lot of these US Olympians or highly touted prospects, a lot of these guys can't throw wide punches. Like the technique on their wide shots are just fucking slaps. They don't sit down on their shots. They don't turn them over. The punch technique's horrible on a lot of these guys, man. Even Devin Haney. I don't mind Devin Haney, but his punch technique at times, not so much with the straight shots, but again with like the wide shots, the punch technique isn't the greatest. Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, Vladimir Tereshkin. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think that fight was as bad as people said, Nordic, but there you go. I was always fascinated with Vladimir's feet in that fight. His feet were so quick. You know, when you look at him next to David Haye had exceptionally quick feet when he was in his prime, but Vladimir was keeping up with him, man. That was super impressive. Dillian White, I mean, I've got no idea, to be honest. I wouldn't mind seeing Dillian White fight Andy Ruiz. I think that would be a decent fight. As for Dubois, someone like Marius Wack, Robert Helenius. Stevenson was stomping on his opponent's foot a lot. The only punch he could throw was a right. Yeah, out of that position. Yeah. 78 Sports will beat his dog when Manny beats Spence, like when Loma beat Rigondeaux. Yeah, that guy. I've not heard from that guy in a long time, you know. Yeah, I agree. I think Tank is just a better version of Broner. Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's more natural ability there with Tank, more raw ability anyway. And I much prefer watching Tank than Broner. Yeah, I mean, it's what it is, man. We'll find out on July 24th. That's when all of this will be over. But yeah, when you compare him to guys like Estrada, Rungvisai, Chocolatito, Inoue, Usyk, Josh Taylor, you know, there's certain guys in there who I believe have much better resumes than Errol Spence Jr. I think he's got a half decent chance. He's a live underdog if he's not compromised. Tank's footwork equals back leg in a mop bucket, as some call it. Yeah, I can see that. It's almost like he's had a stroke, isn't it? How he's dragging that back leg. It fucking irritates me so much. And Broner had the exact same thing. If Barrios sticks and moves, he could make Tank look awful, but Barrios loves a tear up. He fights like a smaller man. He does. Yeah, look at the Akhmedov fight. I thought he lost that fight. I thought he got outworked. He dropped Akhmedov twice, but just felt he got outworked in that one. Barrios does have a big heart though, and he's young. Should fasten up his defense. He's always open when he fought Akhmedov. Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. That's what all of these mainstream publications are in the West, particularly in the UK. Yeah, I don't mind a bit of Christina Poncha. She's not too bad. I can't. It's not like Anna Woolhouse where I just can't stand listening to her. I don't mind Christina Poncha. Bellew just wants to be left alone. Leave him alone with his very loyal wife and kids. Yeah, Boots versus Ugas, great fight. I wonder what they're going to do with Boots Ennis next. See, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like Josecito Lopez, someone like that. Really wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Fight Film's got a great channel, no doubt, man. No doubt. And also the second channel, really, really enjoyed the content. Yeah. Yeah, Spence did get cracked early, but carried Mikey late, in my opinion. He was blatantly missing and just tapping him to the body. It was a peculiar fight, wasn't it? When you look back at it, it was a weird fight. I remember before that fight, though, everybody was saying, "Oh, Mikey's a much better technical boxer than Errol Spence." Blah blah blah. He's got a better jab. He's got better timing, whatever, better accuracy. I never saw what people were seeing, man. Honestly, I never saw what people were seeing. I said before that fight, Errol's a better boxer than Mikey and got fucking ridiculed for it, man. I just don't rate Mikey that highly, man. Just a one-dimensional, straight up and down straight puncher with good timing. He's decent, Mikey, but he's nothing special. Nothing special at all. How do you think Boots Ennis would do against David Avanesian? It's a good test. I'd like to see it. I'd say he'd beat him, but it's a good test. Yeah, I agree, Del. Spence is one of the fighters I like to watch the most in boxing at the moment based on his style of fighting. Yeah, I like Spence. See, my preference really, I guess, is I like technically sound fighters who apply pressure or just fight to hurt somebody. That's really all I can describe as my go-to style. So boxer punchers, technically sound pressure fighters, they're my ideal sort of fighters to watch personally. But there's a few exceptions like Subriel Matias. He's an aggressive guy, makes a lot of mistakes, but I still like watching him. But all in all, yeah, I like technically well put together fighters who are aggressive. That's my kind of go-to. I don't get the hate for Bellew. Fought dangerous fighters, ton of heart, and honestly gave Usyk a hell of a fight. Even outboxed him at times, but nobody admits it until he got knocked the fuck out. See, I only gave Bellew 2 rounds in that fight. I think it was the second round and the third round. That's all I gave Bellew. I thought I felt that Sky gave Tony way too much credit in that fight. He looked good in rounds 2 and 3, but that was really it in my opinion. Like even Paulie Malignaggi on commentary was saying, like, listen, you can't give rounds to Tony just because he's doing okay. Like he even Paulie on commentary said the fellow commentators were giving Tony way too much credit. Yeah, I mean, I've not really been keeping up with them, Nathan, to tell you the truth. I saw the Cash Ali fight. That was really it. Yeah, Spence keeps his head on centre line. That is bad news against Manny, indeed. And Manny can certainly expose that if he's still, somewhat at it. It's going to be a good fight, man. It's going to be a great fight. I think that'll be an entertaining fight as well. It's going to be an entertaining fight. I can't see that being a dull fight. I'll be surprised if it is, anyway. Hopefully the undercard's good as well. Yeah, Bellew was a good fighter, but yeah, never a big fan of him personally. Me too. That's how I perceive Bellew as well. If Bellew stayed at cruiserweight, like started at cruiserweight, I think he would have had a pretty good run. Actually, he would have had a pretty good run. Yeah, a lot of American fighters these days more athleticism than fundamentals and skills. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean, Del. Shakur's hooks are so wide, reminds me a bit of Keith Thurman with those wide hooks. Andrade's a bit like that too. Yeah, Andrade's horrible for it, honestly. Horrible for it. It just looks so messy, doesn't it? Just looks so messy. Yeah, after he finishes a combination, Spence always brings his head back to the center. Emmanuel Pacquiao will time that. Yeah, there's a lot of tells to Errol Spence's game. Another thing is, like, when you're trading, he's one of those guys. I don't know. No, probably no. I won't say that. I was going to say he's not necessarily great at. What I'm trying to say is when you throw against Errol Spence, he's not one of those guys who can transition defense to offense all that well. So if you're throwing a combination at him, he'll just shell up really and not really throw back until you're done. So I think Manny in this fight, his output needs to be a bit better than the Keith Thurman fight. But yeah, he is simple. He's, he is simple, but, sometimes just the basic fundamentals of boxing plus size and strength and stamina will get you a long way, kind of thing. I loved how Vladimir versus Hay went. Exactly how I predicted at the time. I was 17 and I made a lot of middle-aged boxing experts look dumb. Yeah, a lot of people were falling for that fight, weren't they, back in the day, including myself as a 16-year-old, however old I was. No, I was 17 as well, actually. Yeah, I'm your age. I was 17 as well. Yeah, that is part of it. That is definitely part of it, Gooner season. Yeah, I hope so, Del. Imagine if Wilder knocks out Fury, we might get a fourth fight. Yeah. For me, a prime Hay beats everybody today except Fury, Gassiev, and Usyk. He sparks Wilder and AJ. Underrated win for Vladimir. I agree. I always thought David Hay should have really done a lot more in his career, but David Hay was a bit of a playboy kind of thing, a bit of a celebrity. But yeah, I always liked watching David Hay back in the day. He was super dangerous. And again, I want to see Gassiev back in the ring as well. I know he's had a lot of promotional issues. He was with Matchroom for a little bit, but that kind of died a death. And I'm not sure what he's doing now, to be honest. Ugas versus Avanesian would be good would be good. Or Stanionis against either guy. I think Stanionis might fight someone like Abel Ramos next. That's what they're talking about. Yeah, that's a good fight, Nathan. Yep. Definitely happened. Definitely happened, Nordic. Yeah, what I'm afraid of for Pacquiao on fight night is the Father Time. If not, Mr. Ferrari is done. Facts. You think Ugas beats Boots Ennis? I'm not sure, man. Ugas is a good boxer, decent fundamentals, but I'm not convinced about Ugas at the elite level. He's like a decent. Ugas, like I say, he's a decent lower level top 10 contender. That's how I would rate him. I don't like listening to Cynthia Conte, but I like her. Like looking at her, yeah. Still not seen it, Big Boys Boxing. I keep on meaning to watch that fight. Still not seen it. I've got to give credit to Paul Gallen, though, because he was a rugby player and he went 10 rounds with Justice Hooney. Apparently showed a lot of heart, so got to give him credit. Got to give him credit. Yeah, Mikey was a guy I could never really get behind, to be honest. The only thing I rate Mikey for was the fact that he was honest in regards to his career. He basically said that he only does boxing because he's good at it and he gets paid. He doesn't really do it because he loves it, and his MO is to make as much money as possible. He's always been quite, honest about that, which I kind of appreciate. But apart from that, man, not a big fan of Mikey. Who will Bud fight next? I would say Zepeda. So Bob Arum said we're looking at Zepeda, Prograis, or Ramirez, Jose Ramirez. The worst of those options is Zepeda, so that's who I'm expecting. I would love it to be Prograis. If Prograis happens, no problem at all on my end. It'd be nice to see Prograis fight at 147 first, but I'll take it. As for Jose Ramirez, again, I'd like to see him get a rebound win at welterweight. So I think it's got to be Prograis. I remember when you had guys like Jim Watt, Barry McGuigan, Carl Froch, Johnny Nelson, Ricky Hatton, all of the top UK pundits saying Vladimir was getting KO'd early and Hay was the saviour of a division. Yeah. And then old Tony Bellew, David Price is the heir apparent to Klitschko's throne. He'll beat Vitali. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, Francisco Vargas, tough dude, always comes to fight, but he's shop worn. It'll be fun while it lasts, but Isaac Cruz is going to win that one. Yeah, Josecito now is a bit past it, and he's a bit past it, but I could see that fight happening. I'd like to see Pedraza against Ponce or Matthias. If those guys did a round robin, it would make for some very entertaining matchups. Yeah, there's a lot of good guys at 140, even like outside of like the top three, Taylor, Ramirez, and Prograis. There's a lot of good fighters and a lot of good guys coming up as well. Ergashev, another one, big puncher, definitely worth looking at. There's a lot of guys in that division. Even guys like Postal still knocking around. I've seen Hector Tanajara, but I've not seen William Zepeda. So interesting though. Usyk versus Bellew. Paulie was having a go at Hay and Froch. Why did they need 5 commentators that night? Exactly. Yeah, Pedraza Barboza. That makes sense. Good fight. Yeah, he's got Paulie's a good commentator, but like you say, Nez, when it comes to Pacquiao, the guy's just got an axe to grind. Yeah, I'd agree with that, J9898. Yeah, Barboza, Pedraza, Matthias, Ponce, all good fights. That's what I thought, Nordic. I felt he won Bellew. I felt Bellew won the second round. He won the third round, and that was really it. He had moments in other rounds, but the fact that some people had him up in that fight, I don't know what they was watching. Bellew versus Lebedev 2016. I think anything after like the Guillermo Jones fight, I think Lebedev was there for the taking, to be honest. He was much more beatable. I think that's a 50-50, to be honest. Bellew Lebedev in 2016. I think it's 50-50. Before the Guillermo Jones fight, I'd say Lebedev, but that fight took a lot out of fighters. Sorry, a lot out of Lebedev. Sorry, I was reading something else there. Well, I see Pacquiao making his style all in one when he fought the big guys, Margarito, Oscar De La Hoya, Fishnets, Clottey. Yeah, whenever one has an opinion on any boxer that is less than complimentary, their menstruating fanboys come out of a woodwork. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things, though, isn't it? You just got to ignore it. Like if you make a video criticizing Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury fanboys will come on your channel, say, "Oh, you've got a great channel." When you make a video criticizing Tyson Fury, those same people will say, "Oh, you're full of shit." Blah blah blah. Is what it is, man. Yeah, it's one of those things, though, isn't it? It's one of those things. I think Paulie. I don't think with Manny though. I think it stems back to something back in the day. I think it was it that he never got a Pacquiao? There was some reason behind it. I forgot what it was though. Why Paulie doesn't like Manny Pacquiao? There's a reason behind it, but I've totally forgot what it was. Maybe I think he was looking for a fight with him or something. I'm not sure really. Thoughts on Eddie Hearn and Conor Benn promoting the jab? I don't condone needlecraft, so I'm not surprised though. I'm not surprised. Paulie hates Manny because of jealousy. There was a reason behind it. I forget what it was. Yes, since Usyk, he's had one fight. He fought some fat guy, Nuri Safari, who's basically a fat cruiserweight at heavyweight. He knocked him out in a round, and that's all he's done in the last sort of 3 or 4 years. But I do like Gassiev. I've always rated Gassiev. I think he'll do well at heavyweight, but needs to get on the horse, start fighting people. Yeah, David Hayes spent his prime on "I'm a celebrity, get me out of here." Exactly. I don't think Spence is basic like people think. Look at the Lamont Peterson fight. Spence was pivoting, rotating around Peterson, using angles, etc. He can fight well on the inside as well, yeah. Yeah, he does everything well, Errol Spence. He does everything well for the most part. But I don't think he does anything like outstanding. Just a really well-rounded fighter. Yeah, no doubt about it, Leo. Yeah, he flat out ducked Filip Hrgović. I don't get why. He was saying that the payday wasn't enough, but ultimately, if you back yourself and you win that fight, it's an IBF eliminator. You're going to get a heavyweight title shot, so the money's going to come. But obviously, he didn't want to back himself to fight Hrgović. So it's a duck in my opinion. Joshua versus Usyk. I think Joshua's going to spark him. I think that's such a hard fight to call, honestly. It's such a hard fight to call. I'm looking forward to it, man. I think that might be my favourite fight this year. I think it might be my favourite fight this year. I like the Spence fight, obviously. I really liked the Estrada Gonzalez fight, but I think Joshua Usyk's the most intriguing to me anyway. Yeah, he was. David Hay. Yeah, he came in the ring with Jody Marsh. Yeah, and he got beat by Carl Thompson. Got stopped. Cynthia Conte might be a ladyboy. I was sitting in the front row at the fight, Del. Huni gave him a brutal beating. was hard to watch late in the fight. Yeah. Fair play to Paul Gallen, though. You know, former rugby player. He's a tough dude, man. I've got to give him credit. He clearly takes boxing seriously. It's not like he's trying to steal a living out of boxing. So, got to give him a bit of credit, man, Paul Gallen. Fair play to him. Usyk is too small to beat Joshua, and he struggled with Chisora. Oh, dear. I think that's a 50-50 fight, Nordic, man. Joshua Usyk, I really do. I'm struggling to pick. I'll make my prediction much nearer the time. I'm not going to do it anytime soon. I like Zepeda, but damn if they feed him to Bud, yeah. It's a bad fight, man. He's not a 147-pounder, Zepeda. He's not a 147-pounder. Yeah, Felix Sturm, back out of retirement, fighting this weekend against, James Kraft. I think Felix must need the money. You know, he was in prison, obviously. What did he get sent down for? Tax evasion or something like that. So I'd say he just needs some money right now. Felix Sturm, good fighter back in the day, real good jab, nice high guard, technically sound. But yeah, he'll get knocked out when he steps up again. You never know, shadow boxing, it could happen. He's going to get his opportunity very shortly by looks of it. He's going to get his opportunity very shortly. I think it's a dangerous fight for Joshua. I really do. I've got a sneaky feeling something's going to go wrong in regards to Joshua Fury. One of those guys is going to lose. I've got a feeling, just a gut feeling. Something's going to happen. One of these guys is going to lose. Yeah, for many boring and overrated, Vladimir became a legend after he let AJ survive in AJ's most exciting fight to date. Very slimy. Yeah, I still think that stoppage was too fucking early as well. A lot of people, maybe I'm way off on that, but I always felt that stoppage was way too early in Klitschko Joshua. Nobody really spoke about that at the time, but I felt the stoppage was pretty bad, to be honest. Particularly given what sort of career Vladimir had, what he achieved, and how he was fighting as well in that fight. I felt Vladimir should have been given a bit more leeway in that fight to carry on. But there we go, is what it is. Usyk's putting on too much muscle. He's going to get caught. He looks pretty natural to me, man. He doesn't look like blown up or anything like that. I think the last time I saw him, he was 231, I want to say. And he looked pretty natural, man. He looked pretty natural. And obviously he was cutting weight to make cruiserweight. He wasn't a smaller cruiserweight, Alexander Usyk. The guy's 6'3", 6'3.5", something like that. He's not a small guy at all. And in the amateurs in the World Series of Boxing, he was fighting legitimate heavyweights. You know, guys like Mohammad Razil Majidov, for example. You know, guys like that. Joe Joyce, obviously. He's fought legit heavyweights before. Yeah, they drew to France. Yeah, that's a very good result. Yeah. See, France, to me, they've not looked that great in the first two games, but, you know, it's tournament football. They could warm into it. Yep, Joshua Usyk rumoured for September 25th, O2 Arena. O2 Arena, that's interesting. Yeah, Conor Benn's becoming a bit annoying right now, to be honest with you. Like, he's improved a lot. He's better than I thought he was, but, like, he needs to chill a little bit, you know? It's coming across a little cringy with those sound bites. Just chill and start fighting, man. Just be quiet. Like, I don't mind the Granados fight for him. I think it's a good learning fight. But after that, I think, you know, he needs to take something that's relatively risky or more competitive on paper. Yeah, Vladimir was 41 off a loss and a 2-year layoff. Yeah, do you know what? It was similar to Mike Tyson versus Larry Holmes, in a sense. Larry was, early 40s? I think he was 41 himself, or like 40, something like that, coming off a 2-year layoff, coming off a loss. And he fought Tyson. Tyson got no credit at all for destroying Larry Holmes. And bear in mind, Larry Holmes went on to beat Ray Mercer, who arguably beat Lennox Lewis, by the way. He gave Holyfield a tough fight. So Mike got no credit for beating Larry Holmes in the same circumstances in which basically Joshua fought Klitschko. So is what it is, man. Is what it is. Yeah, Conor Benn has a huge chip on his shoulder. Exciting fighter, but comes over pretty arrogant. But then most boxers do, I guess. Yeah, it's one of those things, man. Yeah, to me, Vladimir exited his prime, I would say, after the Pulev fight. Because against Bryant Jennings, he didn't look too hot in that fight. Yeah, I mean, yeah. When has Usyk been one banged by a big heavyweight? It never happened in the amateurs with no headgear. Never happened in the World Series of Boxing. This guy's never been down. He's never been down in the pros. He's never really been hurt. He can take a punch, man. He can take a punch. I mean, Chisora, he hurt Dillian White far more than he hurt Usyk. He didn't hurt Usyk at all. But everyone's saying Usyk can't take a punch. It's going to be a one-shot wonder. That's all it's going to take. I think those people are sorely mistaken. Sorely mistaken, but we'll see. We shall see. Would Klitschko that fought Joshua have beaten everyone in the top 10 bar Fury and Joshua? I think he would have beaten most of them. Akon. He would have beaten most of them. And I'm not saying it's not a good win, by the way, but I think people went a bit over the top just because of what sort of fight it was. Paulie said if Pacquiao beats Cotto, he's the GOAT. Pacquiao pulled his hoe card, yet Paulie kept blowing Floyd, proving to be a hypocrite. Yeah. Paulie's been punked so many times in recent years, man, by Conor, by that fucking Russian guy as well. Who's that MMA fighter who beat him in bare knuckle? Forgot his name, Artem Lobov. You know, the guy's mouth kind of gets him into situations which end up looking foolish on his behalf. But Paulie is what he is, man. He's a bit of a gobshite, as we say over here. Conor Benn's a hype job, beat nobody, outgrown British level without any belts. They're trying to make him a future pay-per-view star. Exactly, Bump of K. Eddie basically said it himself. We're not going to put him in any 50-50 fights because we see the ratings he's doing. So we're going to get these sort of fights where he's fighting the likes of Granados for a while. He's not going to fight an Avanesian anytime soon. You got to let Vladimir get KO'd. Vladimir's neck is still hyperextended from that uppercut. Yeah, that was a beautiful shot. Yeah, never gave Pacquiao his credit for proving him wrong. A lot of people back then were picking Cotto to beat Pacquiao. A lot of people. See, in that run, yeah, from like 2008 to like 2012, the fight I was super concerned about for Pacquiao was Margarito. Back in the day, like watching it in real time. Margarito was the fight where I was like, damn, this one might be, this could be a bridge too far. I was kind of thinking to myself, Pacquiao's going to lose this. But you fucking proved me wrong, man. Proved me wrong. But I picked Pacquiao to beat Hatton, Cotto, Clottey, those guys, you know. No problem, Tone, man. You too, brother. Have a good one, bro. Yeah, Paulie's best performance was against Cotto. Pacquiao smashed him. Yeah, that was to be fair to Paulie, that actually was a good performance in a loss. He performed well. He performed well. I think he broke his jaw in that fight, or one of something like that. Orbital bone, maybe. Usyk won't have the same struggles that he had with Chisora. Chisora's a nutcase and he's extremely aggressive. Joshua is more skilled and less brash. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, exactly. And again, I think people with the Chisora fight, I felt Chisora got way too much credit from a lot of people. The way I look at that fight, physically, it was a hard fight for Alexander Usyk, but that doesn't necessarily translate into effective scoring blows or anything like that. Chisora was making it hard on Usyk, but a lot of the work he was doing was messy, it was scrappy, and it wasn't scoring criteria kind of thing. Does that make sense? So physically, it was a hard fight for Usyk, but in terms of pure scoring, it wasn't close. Usyk clearly beat Derek Chisora. I had it 9 rounds to 3 for Usyk. It was a clear win. But I saw people have it a fucking draw. I mean, whatever, man. Sturm versus Canelo. Sturm's looking for that Canelo payday, man. 42 years old. Got done for tax evasion. To be fair, mate, I've not really heard from Paulie much these days since he got fired by Showtime. Yeah, that's a good shout, Gabe Lopez. Oscar De La Hoya should have fought Sturm for his comeback, since everyone knows he lost to Sturm. Yep, that would have been good actually. Yeah, Sturm's coming back. Oscar's a bit older. Why not have a 10-round pro fight? Why not? Why not? Joshua will draw with Usyk and come back to him after the Fury fight. Interesting. Nadal, the Vladimir Joshua stoppage was bang on in my opinion, and I normally cry about British stoppages. I'm not sure, man. I thought, given the sort of fight it was, given what sort of champion Vladimir was, I felt Vladimir could have, had a few more seconds. Benefit of a doubt type of shit. But so now you guys think it's fair enough. I felt it was a bit too early. Usyk didn't put on real muscle anyway. He's 231 of fat and water. You can't put on mass like that quickly. And if he did, he would look like a whole different person. I think he looks good, man. Just using my eyes, looking at him on Instagram, he looks good. He looks good to me. He looks healthy. He looks fit. He looks strong. Conor Benn versus Granados. Conor Benn. You mean Vargas? Yeah, Conor Benn Vargas. Yeah, that was a bad stoppage. Yeah, that's what people were saying. Nordic Ruiz was too fat to beat Joshua. Too fat, too small. Yeah, and look what happened. Look what happened. Big up to Unrivaled, by the way. Unrivaled Boxing Talk and News. By the way, check out Unrivaled if you haven't already. Another good channel. Yes, big up to Larry Merchant in the house. Come out of retirement, bro. There's not many now Unrivaled. I basically got rid of most mods, man. I don't really want one of those channels where somebody gets iced because they've stated a different opinion. People can really say what they want, to be honest. As long as it's not fucking grimy, but you know what I mean? Whatever. In the chat, it's pretty much free smoke. I don't even block those troll accounts, to be honest. It is what it is. Too lazy to. David Fisher, Florian Marku should have karate kicked Ben in front of his wife. See, I wouldn't mind seeing that fight, David, to be honest. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. Conor Benn versus Florian Marku. It'd be a decent fight. Which is what Mike Tyson did to Larry Holmes. Because, like I said earlier, the circumstances were very similar. Both Vladimir and Larry were of a similar age, both coming off losses, both a similar layoff. But Tyson did what he did, destroyed Larry Holmes, and got no credit for it, despite Larry going on to beat Ray Mercer, giving Evander Holyfield a hard fight. So, is what it is, man. Joshua showed good heart in that fight, good fighting instinct. He performed well, I guess, but I think some went over the top. Yeah, I guess as well, it's not just like the pure ages of both fighters. They could both be the same age, but certain guys age better or worse than others, I guess. It's one of those things. I know what you're saying, though, Nordic. I know you're saying Povetkin. Yeah, Conor Benn's got that kidulthood personality. Yeah, he does. I'm not surprised, Nordic man, with the BBC. I'm not surprised at all. One of the best series of fights in the last few decades, Leonardo. Yeah, really good fights. What else can I say? I enjoyed every one of them. I don't agree with people's view on the first fight, though. A lot of people had Marquez winning the first fight. I don't see how you can have Marquez winning that fight at all, but there you go. One of those things, isn't it? I felt a draw was far too kind to Marquez in the first fight. But Lojan, salute. Usyk should have sued Derek for sexual harassment. Yeah, tell me about it, man. The amount of ball punches he took, man, that's sexual assault. But but Derek, that's what Derek was doing in that fight, punching on the hips, the balls, rabbit punches, a lot of clinching, a lot of sort of mauling. He gave Usyk a tough time physically, but not in terms of scoring criteria, in my opinion. Yeah, Mrs. Usyk wasn't happy with those low blows. Yeah, that's the stereotype, isn't it? That's what I thought. Vladimir was he was defending relatively well, in my opinion. He was he was slipping and rolling and blocking. But there you go. I can't see it, J9898. I'd be shocked if Joshua could knock out Usyk. He hits hard, man, obviously. And he's got decent timing, so he could walk him onto something big, but I'll be surprised if it's one single shot. I'd be very surprised. And I'll be fucking shocked if it's the first punch of significance, like a lot of Joshua fans are saying. Gun to my head, I pick AJ. Gun to my foot, I pick Usyk. Yeah, no doubt, Nordic. But Lewis Ritson the other day, he was getting his shit pushed in for 10 rounds, and he got so much like leeway in that fight. Each to their own, man. Shadow boxing. I thought it was a tad early, to be honest. But there you go. I think Joshua Usyk will be such an eye opener to a lot of people. Usyk has a legit shot, and people keep saying he can't win due to size. His best attribute is AJ's biggest weakness, stamina. Indeed, exactly. People are not talking about the aspects in which Usyk has the advantages: stamina, foot speed, hand speed, experience. And listen, in a pound-for-pound sense, Alexander Usyk has a much better chin than Anthony Joshua. Much better chin. Styles make fights, indeed. Should I get on the Marku hype train? I don't think he's going to go all that far, Foat. But he's a fun fighter, is what he is. The Fat Blob took away Joshua's jab easy in the rematch, and AJ showed he had no idea how to control distance. Usyk will be a nightmare. See, I think the worst thing Joshua can do in that Usyk fight is to be ultra aggressive, like be an ultra aggressive boxer puncher on the front foot. I think that's the worst. I think that's a bad way to approach this fight for Joshua. I think he needs to do what he did against Povetkin, to be honest. Kind of fight with that low lead hand, jabbing from the waist. Try and draw the lead of Alexander Usyk and try and get him to come in and then obviously counter with a hard right hand. Try and time him coming in, but I think being aggressive for Joshua is extremely risky, man. Especially if he does that from first bell and it doesn't work, he's going to be expanding a lot of energy, missing shots and whatnot, chasing Usyk. I don't think that's going to work out well. I think Joshua needs to be a lot more circumspect in this fight. More of a counter puncher, I would say. But we'll see. See, to me, the third fight was closest. I felt Pacquiao won the first fight quite clearly, and the second fight. The third fight was close. To be honest, though, I've only seen the third fight once, and that was back in the day on a bad stream. That was like 2011. What do you think? Sorry, who do you think is funnier, Del? Usyk when he says I'm feel, or Golovkin when he used to say this is boxing? Usyk to me. Usyk. AJ 11th round KO against Usyk. Usyk's too weak at heavyweight. I don't think he's too weak, man. I thought Manny schooled Marquez in the third fight. Never understood why. Never understood the robbery narrative. Yeah, I thought it was a close fight, but again, I've seen it once back in the day. The third fight to me was the least exciting out of all of them, but Cajano and Arreola landed the right hand on Andy far easier than AJ. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't impressed with Joshua's performance as much as a lot of people were in the Ruiz rematch. What I did, I rated, like, I guess, the mental strength coming off a bad loss to win. That's fair enough, but it was to me, a lot of it was Joshua's body language in that fight when Ruiz got close, man. Joshua looked so panicky in that fight. When anytime Ruiz got close and got hit with cupping shots in the clinch, whatever, Joshua looked so panicky in that fight. But I that night, to me, Joshua was there for the taking in the Ruiz rematch. I felt he looked better against Pulev, to be honest. I thought he looked quite good in that fight, but we'll see, man. We'll see. Be interesting. Yeah, this is boxing. Yep, legendary shit. I loved watching Golovkin back in the day, man. On the come up. See, before he even went to America, he was fighting on Box Nation back in the day when he was fighting like the Japanese dude, not Ashida, but I think it was like Fujigami or something like that. When he was knocking out guys like that, those fights were on Box Nation, and yeah, I remember watching this guy back in like 2011 time, Golovkin. And yeah, I was sold then. I wish we got certain fights though, like Felix Sturm. Felix Sturm ducked the shit out of Golovkin, man. Hassan and Dam, Darren Barker, all of these guys back then were kind of shook. Sergio Martinez. I wish we got that Dmitry Pirog fight as well, because that fight was signed, obviously. And Dmitry Pirog pulled his back. I think he ruptured a disc or something. And that basically ended his career. So yeah, Golovkin had a lot of bad luck early on. Didn't get the fights, but that's boxing, man. It's what it is. Joshua's going to approach Usyk kind of like how he approached Povetkin. You can tell he respects his status. Yeah, I think Joshua knows it's a hard fight. They let Warrington get 10 years taken off of his life, but then stop Ben's opponent after 2 good shots. Yep. Indeed, Nordic, yep. And that's why, you hear guys like Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn say, oh, it's just a mistake, blah, 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 when it comes to judging or bad stoppages. But if it was purely incompetence, then we would be seeing these results across the board. So B-side guys getting robbery wins and getting bad stoppages. But it's always the A-side fighter who gets the benefit from these, from these incidents. So it's not fucking incompetence. It's corruption. Whether it's like direct corruption, as in like brown envelope type of thing, or whether it's just these judges are aligned with promoters. If they do a good job for the promoter, they're going to get put up in nice hotels. They're going to get treated nicely, and they're going to get work on a lot more shows, kind of thing. So it's bad, but see, the UK for me is I want to say it's worse than America. The UK for like judging, referees, corruption. It's up there, man. Which is what makes me laugh when people say in the UK, "Oh, Germany's so bad. Germany's so bad." Germany used to be bad, but we are worse than Germany as of right now. Nadal, I think you misread my message. I was saying that AJ Usyk's a close fight, not one-sided. Yeah, I agree. Usyk beats Joshua. I could see it. I think he needs to get a stoppage, though. El Jefe's getting roasted, man. I like El Jefe. Dimitrenko, not Kajal. Yeah, Dimitrenko, yeah. Because he fought Dimitrenko before he fought Joshua. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Anderson Silva, Chavez Jr. tonight. That's about Chavez Jr.'s level, isn't it? AJ should vacate the title and fight Oscar Rivas. Dare to be great. Nah, I think I should have given more time, man. Yeah, I remember him, Jake. Rostislav Pleshko. Yeah, he was that smaller heavyweight, just like pure aggression. Yeah. So he was going to go. I heard he was going to go down to cruiserweight, but after that, I heard nothing. Maybe Joshua's no longer in his prime. It's entirely possible. Maybe I think he is though, to be honest. But Marcus had a face like a rotten mango. UK officiating is the worst outside of Texas. Look at how they gave Price the knockdown versus Povetkin, but not when Povetkin sent Hunter into the ropes the same way. Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. Yeah, I mean it's terrible in the UK, man. It's absolutely awful, absolutely awful. But nothing's going to change anytime soon. These guys they'll get a gig the next weekend. Horrendous. I still think like the worst robbery last year was Lewis Ritson and Miguel Vasquez in the UK. I think that was the worst robbery of the year, honestly. I thought it was a close fight, Shadow. The third Marquez fight. Best action-packed, highly technical fight you've seen over the past few years. Loma Campbell was up there. Yeah, Loma Campbell was actually a good fight, to be honest. That was a good fight, yeah. The best technical fight I've seen in recent years, like high-paced technical fight. Probably, do you know what? Probably the Golovkin-Canelo fights, especially the second fight, I would say. Estrada versus Gonzalez too as well was another one. Big up to Jay Martinez. Can Usyk go toe-to-toe with Andy Ruiz? I think so, yeah, easy. I think so. I mean, a shot 40-year-old Chris Arreola can. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think Andy's as good as people say, to tell you the truth, man. He is what he is, really. He's dangerous in the exchanges, yeah, don't get me wrong, but he's just average, man. He's got slow feet, ponderous, defense isn't great. Andy's just a mid-tier heavyweight. Yeah, for some reason, for certain fighters, shots on the gloves count, but not for other fighters. The prime example I can think of is Badou Jack James DeGale. I don't know what the fuck people were watching when they saw that fight. The amount of people I see, that was... so many people say James DeGale won or it was a close fight, draws a fair result. No, nah. Badou Jack beat the piss out of James DeGale in that fight. It wasn't close at all. He beat the absolute piss out of James DeGale. That's one of those fights where like, well, DeGale was landing all these shots. No, he wasn't. He was fucking hitting gloves all night. But there you go. Usyk would embarrass Ruiz. Yeah, I think it's a bad style matchup for Ruiz. He struggled with smaller guys in the amateurs, Ruiz, like Michael Hunter. Yeah, the UK commentary and judges had Bellew schooling Usyk, then he got slept. Yeah, again, we was talking about this earlier. I gave Bellew 2 rounds against Usyk, round 2 and round 3. I've never seen a robbery in Germany. I've seen disputed decisions, but no robbery like you see in Vegas. Yeah, Oscar. Yeah, he's fighting Bryant Jennings again. Akon. That's for the Bridgerweight title. Vacant Bridgerweight title. I'll tell you what, I've shit on Bridgerweight, but the couple of fights I've seen so far have been pretty good. Like Romanov versus Kudryashov was actually a good fight. Who should Ruiz fight next? Ortiz or White? Either or for me. I don't really care who, Nick. Either or, I'm fine with. I'm absolutely fine with. I think White stylistically would make for a funner fight. But either one, really. Either one. Ortiz is more makeable, obviously, with PBC. So maybe Ortiz. If you can go toe-to-toe like Tyson Fury, Golovkin, Pacquiao, Mexico will adopt you. If they fight here in the States, yeah. I'm just not interested in Ruiz right now, honestly. I don't find the guy particularly entertaining. Apart from like the first Joshua fight, I've not really enjoyed any Ruiz fight. He's not particularly entertaining. Fights in spurts, slow feet, ponderous, like I said. Yeah, I don't rate him as high as a lot of people do. I think that Joshua fight really flattered him, really. It kind of flattered to deceive what his real level is. Like, I still think Wilder beats fucking Andy Ruiz, to tell you the truth. If he's not completely mentally shot. Even if fucking Wilder loses to Fury again, I'd still pick Wilder to beat Andy Ruiz. Usyk went toe-to-toe with Michael Hunter and beat him up. Yeah, that was a... Yeah, Michael started that fight relatively well from what I can remember. But yeah, as that fight went on, yeah, Usyk started to beat the hell out of Hunter. And that fight could have genuinely have been stopped. I think they made the right decision, to be honest. I'm not a fan of these early stoppages, but a referee could have easily stopped that fight as well. Ruiz beat Anorexia. There was no free knockdown rule. It's irrelevant how many times he went down. What is relevant is that he was aware and defending himself. Yep, totally agree. And again, I thought that fight was super like clear for Badou Jack. Super clear. So I still wouldn't mind seeing Badou Jack. What's Badou Jack even doing right now? I know he fought on the Mayweather undercard, but I wouldn't mind seeing Badou Jack fight Dimitri Bivol. Dimitri Bivol can't get a fight right now, so why not Badou Jack versus Bivol? Yeah, the greatest era of heavyweights would have all made Bridgerweight. Maybe it could be a promising division in the future without all of the giant freaks. Maybe, yeah. Listen, man, the whole idea of another division in boxing doesn't really sit too well, I guess. But ultimately, if it produces good fights, intriguing fights, I'll watch it. So maybe my criticisms are unjust. My intention is not to be a shit stirrer here, but I've often noticed G-Man making very similar videos to you, even almost exactly the same titles. No, G-Man's cool, man. G-Man's cool. I've done follow-up videos on what he's done as well, to be honest, Lamb Chop. So he's done certain topics, and I thought to myself, do you know what? That's a good topic. I'll have my say. Is what it is, man. Me and G-Man are cool. One of my favourites on the YTBC. Because I like G-Man a lot. Yeah, I think Otto Wallin could beat Andy Ruiz, believe it or not. I think Otto Wallin is more technically sound than Andy. I think he's more well put together technically. Better balance, better guard, better jab, better punch technique. He's not as explosive, not as fast in terms of hand speed at least, but I think he's a more well put together technical boxer. I think Otto Wallin could actually beat Andy. Yeah, I do. That's a good fight, though, actually. See, that's another fight that would make sense for Andy right now. But they're not going to make it, though. Otto doesn't really bring enough to the table right now as it stands. Win, lose, or draw, I bet Wilder never fights Joshua all white. Yeah, the whole Joshua situation was a fuck up. But as for Dillian White, I think he would fight Dillian White, given the right circumstances. Like, yeah, Dillian, people say, well, Dillian was calling him out for years and Deontay never fought him. But Dillian made that situation extremely hard on himself by turning down the eliminators. He could have fought Luis Ortiz in an eliminator, but he never did it. So we can say Wilder was ducking Dillian White, but at the same time, how Dillian just tried to talk himself into that fight. He didn't want to fight in an eliminator, so I can't really sit here and say, oh, Dillian was hard done by, whatever. Is what it is with Dillian. He's talking about going up to cruiserweight. Yeah, that's it. Badou Jack. Yeah, he's too small for cruiserweight. But I do like Badou Jack. I've got a lot of time for Badou Jack. Like his style of fighting. Badu is definitely the leading light at the money team stable, no doubt. Yes, big up to Levi Khan, tuning in from New York City. So, found my channel from a Dillian White, Lucas Brown prediction. I couldn't believe at the time people were picking Lucas Brown to beat Dillian White. Can you imagine Ruiz beating Wilder or Fury? What would AJ Fangirl say exactly? Yeah, they'd clown him, yeah, 100%. Also, and again, maybe I'm wrong with Ruiz. Time will tell ultimately, but I think this guy's going to get found out real quick. I do. I think he's going to get found out. I wouldn't be shocked if Luis Ortiz beats him, to tell you the truth. If Luis Ortiz has a half-decent gas tank, let's say, I would pick the Luis Ortiz from Wilder 2 to beat Andy. I would. I'd pick him to outbox him, outpoint him. Wilder might fight Joshua. If Joshua leaves Hearn, but he won't fight White, beef is too personal. Yeah, the whole situation's just fucked, isn't it? Fury retires Wilder, more than likely. That's how it should go down. Well, whether he retires or not, who knows? But so even if he loses again, Wilder, there's still fights out there that I want to see from him. White or Ruiz. There's still fights out there for Deontay Wilder, even if he loses again. So I wouldn't really want him to retire per se. The only benefit of him retiring are that his fangirls just fucking shut up. But that's really it. Yeah, I'm not accusing you of anything, G-Man, bro. It's all good, man. It's all good. Me and G-Man are on a DMs on Twitter basis, so we're good, man. There's only so many times. Sorry, there's only so many takes you can have without everyone's content looking identical. Exactly, bro. It's not like right now there's too much going on in boxing. Let's be honest about it. Yeah, G-Man right now, he's definitely in better fighting shape than me. I can't lie. My weight is still good. I'm about 160. I was 168 last time. 168 the last time I weighed myself. So I'm a 6'1" super middleweight right now. My weight's okay, but like my gas tank right now is going to be fucked. So I'd leave it. I need a training camp for G-Man. Ebony Bridges in bed would not let you pull out. Got that gooch that ruins your life. For fuck's sake. Yeah, I heard that shadow boxing. Again, I think if it's the same Ortiz from the second Wilder fight, I think he beats Ruiz. I do. Bridgerweight could go on to be heavyweight without roids. Now, there'll be roids involved, bro. Going to cruiserweight is not a good move for Badu Jack. Badu would get iced by Dorticos as far as I'm... Yeah, exactly. I agree. You see any of Wilder's changes helping him in the third fight? I think he'll revert to type. 35 is too old to teach a dog new tricks. Still has a puncher's chance, though. Yeah, that's how I see it, bro. Like, the whole pad sessions that he's doing with Malik Scott, it looks good. I actually like some of the drills that he's implementing, but you know, he might go in there with a view to trying to pull those off in the ring. But once he's been jabbed a few times, once he's been hit a few times, once he's lost a couple of rounds, I would imagine Wilder reverts to type kind of thing and loses again. Ortiz better have his Ritalin. Yeah. Oh yeah, Tommy Fury. He's not good at all right now. He's not. Yeah. He's garbage. Yeah, me and G-Man are cool, man. Because there's been certain videos like he's made on Tony Bellew, because I've seen these videos, and Tony Bellew videos for whatever reason always get good views. So I've seen G-Man do a video on what Tony Bellew said, and then I said, you know what, I've got to make one myself. It's always fun roasting Tony Bellew. Yeah, Eddie's a legend, but he pissed off all Al Heyman and Bob. Sorry, Eddie's a legend, but he pissed off Al Heyman and Bob Arum. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. They're going to ice Eddie out of the big fights if they can. There might be something to that. Yeah, Nordic, can we have a dispute? Yeah, you should. Yeah, I don't like Iron Brew. Do you think Dillian White? Sorry, do you think Dillian White takes PEDs in Gibraltar and Spain to avoid testing? There could be something in that LR. I mean, Dillian's got back. Let's be honest, Dillian's got back history for it. Obviously, the whole Diana Bowl scenario most recently, but even before that, he got a drug ban. Dillian White. Mad respect for almost reading everyone's comments. Yeah, I do my best, Jonathan, man. Do my best. Not always easy. Yeah, he passed away recently. Yeah, Kirkland Lang. Yeah, beat Roberto Duran and got knocked out by Fred Hutchings. Yep. One of those guys who had a lot of talent, a lot of ability, but, outside the ring, never really lived the life conducive of a world-class fighter, but he had talent. Who's the most, this is a good one, who's the most up and down fighter in recent years? Linares loses to Kano in one round, but nearly beats Lomachenko. I don't think he nearly beat Lomachenko, man. But yeah, he is up and down. He's definitely up and down. What do you think of the Euros at the moment? The matches have been meh at best. It's been okay, to be honest. I'll be honest with you, Apology. I've struggled to get into it. I have struggled. I liked the Netherlands-Ukraine game. That was a good game. But apart from that, I'm struggling to think of like any super good games. Okay, I'll watch out for him. Yeah, I like a Bridgerweight. You've just got to give it time. I can't see any diva behaviour there. It will be proven ground for smaller heavyweights before they move up. Yeah, I mean, people were, I'm sure this sort of thing happened when, cruiserweight was implemented and super middleweight, etc. So ultimately, all that matters, if it produces good fights, then we'll watch, kind of thing. So yeah, it's one of those things, man. And to be honest, when you really look at it, it's not really the numbers of divisions which is really the problem, man. You could have 20 divisions, and if everybody was fighting each other, it'd be a good product. But it's not really the amount of divisions per se. Is there something dodgy? Sorry, I think there's something dodgy happening with Wilder. If the belts leave America again, then who's going to bring it back? I mean, a lot of people are saying that there's going to be a fix and Wilder wins, but I can't see the reason for it in regards to Tyson Fury. There's far too much money on the table for Fury to take a dive. But it is Tyson Fury, so you never know. I can't see it, though. What if Lomachenko loses to Nakatani somehow? Would that tarnish his pro record? Man, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It wouldn't erase what he's done in the past, but it'll be a hard loss to take, yeah, no doubt. I think Nakatani's dangerous. I think it's a hard fight physically. Not technically, but physically it's a hard fight. You could boil down to 140 easily. I'd look like fucking Robert Easter Jr. Boil down to 154 and stop Fowler. Yep, I honestly think Ruiz is overrated. He beat Joshua with an equilibrium shot, but then went the distance with Liakovic. So he's not a hard hitter. He's a plodder, hittable, discipline issues, a flash in the pan. I agree. What does Marku need to show you to display that he can go to world level? Just, I guess, beat a better level of opponents, I guess. I think he's got some ability there. But, there's a big difference. There's a big gulf between Ryland Charlton and world level. So it's time will tell again with Florian Marku. I think he's going to be an entertaining fighter, but I can't see him, getting to world level. Malik Scott can show Deontay Wilder how to die very well. Scuba Scott, they used to call him on the forums. Scuba Scott. Who's the better overall promoter in their career? Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn? I think Hearn perhaps has already surpassed Frank. Well, Frank did a lot in the 80s and 90s, man. Like he did a lot. But it's hard to compare eras, man. I mean, like in this era, we have social media and shit like that. It's a lot different comparing and contrasting. But they're both well, Eddie's a good promoter right now, and Frank was a great promoter back in the day. So, is what it is, man. Yeah, of course he is, Akon. Of course he is. Yeah, Kirkland Lang used to forget the day he was fighting and would be stoned and high, turning up late to fights. One of the true characters of boxing. Delboy, what the point I want to make is this, fella. When will these pundits stop exerting themselves and jockeying for position? I like the references, man. To everybody in the chat, how much harder do you think Gassiev's straight right is to AJ's, or the other way around? Yeah, I'll be interested to hear. I think Murat Gassiev's a genuine puncher. I always go back to what Chris Arreola said about Gassiev. He said that this was after Arreola fought Wilder and Vitaly Klitschko, and he sparred Gassiev when Gassiev was like walking around weight kind of thing. And he said, with headgear and big gloves, Gassiev was the hardest puncher he's ever been in the ring with, and that was sparring. And Chris Arreola said that he's fought big punchers, so I think Gassiev's power is real, and I think it will. I believe it will actually translate to heavyweight. But again, this guy's got to start fighting. He's got a good skill set. He's fun to watch. He's still relatively young. He's not super old. I think he's 28 maybe. But last few years, man, been far too inactive. Far too inactive. 24th of July, man. Another, sorry, fucking hell. Another prediction. Marku will become a world champion after beating Canelo and become the UFC world champion after beating Francis Ngannou and retire as the GOAT of all combat. Wilder's like a low IQ Forrest Gump. Even Jenny was less of a slag than his bird. I would definitely take Wilder's bird over Tyson Fury's if we're gonna like compare and contrast. I would definitely take Wilder's bird over Tyson Fury's. I'm not a big fan of Paris Fury, to tell you the truth. Something about her I just don't find attractive at all. It's not my cup of tea, if I'm being honest. See, I've never really been a big fan of blondes. Again, not like I'm super picky or anything like that, but blondes have never really been my thing. I'd lean towards Joe Joyce beating Dillian. I'd say on points though. I think it'll go to points. It'd be a damn good fight though. It'd be a damn good fight. To be fair, Marku might be the best shot for a person to hold both UFC and a boxing title. Laugh out loud. Yeah, he does have a kickboxing background. And I think he did a bit of Muay Thai as well, maybe. Indeed, that's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. Eddie Hearn's one of those guys. He could sell sand to the Arabs, ice to the Eskimos, and all of that jazz. But he's good at his job. There's no doubt about it. He's good at his job. I mean, he was convincing people at one point. Lewis Ritson was the Geordie Golovkin, the Newcastle Golovkin. Can you imagine? This guy's going to fight at St James's Park for a world title, 40,000 people. Christ. Oh, Marku's actually fought in MMA as well. It's not going to happen, Jim. It's not going to happen. We heard what Eddie said recently. Conor's not going to be in 50-50 fights anytime soon. He does too good numbers to really risk him right now. So yeah, you're going to see these sort of fights with the likes of Adrian Granados, these sort of fringe gatekeeper types who are a bit washed up. These are the sort of guys Ben's going to be fighting in the foreseeable future, in my opinion. Again, for a learning fight, I don't think Granados is bad. But, like I said earlier, the hype is starting to get to that point now where you kind of expect a step up. You kind of expect a risky fight. Yeah, okay. That's some baby ting. Taylor should avenge Ritson, yeah. See, I never knew the guy who fought Ritson had a promotional contract with Frank Warren. But he looked okay though. The guy who Ritson was fighting, he looked decent, a fun fighter at least. But 140 right now is really good. I like 140. Even when Josh Taylor moves up and Ramirez, there's still going to be some real good fights there. There's going to be some real good fights there. And if you could smash the like, lads, by the way, be much appreciated. Be much appreciated. Always helps the channel out when you hit the like. The little nerds down at Silicon Valley, they love it. Good for the algorithm, apparently. I've never heard Hearn say that fella. I haven't been able to bring myself to watch a Hearn interview for about 5 years. Fucking hell. Yeah, that's the fight I want for Terence Crawford. If Crawford's not going to fight like Porter or whatever, then yeah, Prograis to me is the best option available. I would like to see Prograis fight at 147 first, like one fight. But, you know, with Crawford right now, we're getting such shit fights. I would take Prograis in a heartbeat. And I'll be happy with it. I'd love that fight. Not really a fan of the Zepeda fight, to be honest. Even the Jose Ramirez fight, again, I'd want to see Jose have one fight at 147, and he's coming off a loss, so has to be Prograis. Did you all know that Elizabeth is a 42nd great-granddaughter to the Prophet Muhammad? I've heard that before, you know. But I don't know where I heard it from. Or something similar to that, at least. I think Queen Liz is related to a lot of... Yeah, I would love to see the legitimate bloodline for the royal family. I'd love to see it. Yep, Eddie said Tom Stalker's going all the way. Crawford versus Josesito Lopez. Yes, please. Oh, Christ, can you imagine? So it's going to be a dud. It's going to be Jose Zepeda, isn't it? So that's what it's going to be. Let's be honest. It's going to be Jose Zepeda. Do you like gingers in terms of women? Yeah, redheads are okay. Again, not my go-to. I prefer brunettes personally. That's my ideal. But again, I'm not a fussy man. I'm not gonna sit there with like a clipboard with like attributes you need to have. But like, you know, preference-wise, I prefer brunette. Yeah, indeed. Well, that's what the Quran says. Bolotniks to smash Buatsi. I can't see it. I think it's a good fight for Buatsi, though. I think that's the sort of fight Buatsi needs. Bolotniks is, I would say, genuine European level. I mean, you look at the Golden Contract tournament. That division, that tournament was filled with like domestic level guys, and Buatsi smashed them. You know, Stephen Ward, Hosea Burton. Bolotniks beat these guys easy. So I would say Bolotniks is good European level, and I think it's a good fight for Buatsi. Bob has heard you're pleased to get Crawford a decent fight, so expect him to fight Lipinex next. Yeah. I agree, Crazy. I totally agree. Watch it be Crawford Baranchik. Can you imagine? Crawford versus Clayton because Bob's a cheapskate. Tell with his dating clipboard. Crawford is approaching Gary Russell Jr. levels of wasted talent. It's just disappointing to say the least. Yeah, he is. Yeah, fighting once a year, and when he fights, it's against a fucking C-level guy or a washed-up guy. Yeah, he is similar to Gary Russell, to be honest. But I prefer watching Gary Russell fight. Alan Babbage has that herky-jerky style similar to Tyson Fury and Lucas Brown. Christ. Nordic is my auntie. Heard you're a big fan of women's heavyweight sumo. I never rated Lipinets all that highly, to tell you the truth, man. Never rated him. Wasn't he Crawford's mandatory at one point? Before he vacated? Maybe. Do you guys know when this DAZN card starts? Because I heard it's early. Let's have a look quick. On the wrong fucking browser. Let me go on to Google Chrome. I think this DAZN card starts early for us UK people. I think it starts like a regular card would, like maybe 8 o'clock. So schedule. Okay, yeah, so the fight night streams at 8:30 p.m. So that's good. That's good. Bollocks. Got so many fucking tabs open. I'm losing myself here. Yeah, 8:30 UK time. Yep. Couple of fights I'm looking forward to on that card. I like the main event, Munguia versus Cesar Moreta. I think that could be a decent fight. Rosado Melikuziev, a good fight. And even Blair Cobbs versus Brad Solomon could be a decent little fight. So that card's okay. And it's on at a good time as well. So who's winning the Euros, Stefan? I've got my sneaky feeling is Portugal. Not really based on anything, just gut feeling. And I've always liked Portugal. So I'll go Portugal for the Euros. I'll go Portugal. Italy so far look the best team. But I'm going to go Portugal. If Cesar Moreta gives Jaime trouble, it makes Golovkin's win look better. I could see Cesar Moreta messing Munguia around for a few rounds, kind of thing. I don't think he'll stop him as quick as Golovkin did. One thing Cesar Moreta showed me in that fight, he's fucking tough, man. He's fucking tough. Looking forward to seeing Bektemir. Rosado's in for a bad night. Yeah, maybe. But listen, man, like I was saying earlier, Rosado is a proper gatekeeper. Like, he's one of those guys where if you're not good enough, he will expose you, whether he beats you or makes you look terrible. If you're not good enough, he's that sort of fighter. So it's the ideal fight, really, for Melikuziev right now. It's a good bit of matchmaking, in my opinion. I fit Bud's opponent profile perfectly. 180 pounds, so yeah, you can be drained. No skill, cheap, and ready to go yesterday. Yeah, Golden Boy has better quality cards than Matchroom, but DAZN give Matchroom their main budget. Won't be surprised if DAZN flops. Yeah, I want DAZN to do well. I do like the idea of a lot of boxing being in one place because, tell you the truth, I'm not really a big fan of football or any other sport. Boxing's really my only sport I'd be willing to pay for. So if they could organise it properly and, we get certain fights, I wouldn't mind paying for it, like long-term wise, I mean. But we'll see how it works out. Yes, Cesar Moreta is tough with no power. He's a decent European level boxer as well, Cesar Moreta. Yeah, man, it's gone good so far, bro. I was out last night, watched the football, and yeah, that was shit. So yeah, came home this morning. I'm good, bro. Yeah, Ergashev. Yep, Ergashev needs to get in the mix at 140. Gary Russell also looks for business. Could beat most contenders right now, in my opinion, but no need to rush him. Yeah, I like Gary Antoine Russell. He looks good. He looks very good. Yeah, he beat the guy who got robbed against Broner. What was his name? Santiago? I forgot his name. But he beat the piss out of him. He looked very good. Very good. Still not seen it, Stefan. Still not seen it. I've heard it was a good fight, though. Heard it was a good fight. I've not seen anything from that card apart from the Badou Jack fight. That's really all I've seen on that card. Harrison Charlo 2, heartbreaking ending for Tony Harrison. Was such a great boxer, but that fight ruined him, in my opinion. Yeah, that was a good fight as well. That was a good fight. Harrison versus Charlo 2. That was one of my favourite fights that year. It was a really good fight. Interesting video I saw saying Manny was ducking drug tests to find he's passed more drug tests in recent history than any athlete. Yeah, it's one of those things when people say something enough, it becomes true kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, Rosado's criminally underrated. He is a good fighter, Mark. He is a good fighter, but I would still describe him as a gatekeeper, a high-level gatekeeper. Because like I say, if you're a prospect and you're not good enough, he's going to expose you. But if you're the real deal, you'll beat him comfortably as well. So I'm looking forward to that fight. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll be shocked if Melikuziev stops him early. I would be surprised if he stops Rosado early. I think it will take a few rounds to tenderize him, working that body, but it'll be interesting. Rosado's, decent straight puncher. I could see him tagging Melikuziev with some shit coming in, so it'd be interesting. Yeah, he took a fucking walloping in that fight. He took a fucking walloping. And he was staying in there as well, man. He wanted to stay in there, man, but his corner pulled him out in the end. Oh yeah, he said, should you do white collar? Yeah, go for it, bro. What's the best style of boxing I should approach? It depends on what sort of what's your body type? How are your body mechanics? What feels more comfortable to you? Like, have you been in the gym? Like, you naturally find what's comfortable to you, kind of thing. When you've gone in the gym, but it's all about body mechanics and what suits you, I guess. Like, I'm a tall, lanky cunt, so I was always a guy who I like to fence with a jab, try and maintain range, and use my straight right. I didn't like fighting on the inside. I didn't really like being an aggressor. I kind of tried to box at my rhythm, my pace, be a bit herky-jerky. That was my thing. I pulled that off relatively well, but you got to find what works for you. You got to find what works for you. What is 76 kilos? So I don't use kilos. I use pounds. So that is. So you're 167. You're basically my weight. So yeah, fuck knows, man. Fuck knows. But you should do it, man. You should do it. I was thinking of doing it, white collar, and maybe uploading something on the channel about it, which would have been pretty fucking cool. But yeah, I might do that at some point, white collar. I wouldn't fucking upload it if I got knocked out, though. You can forget that. I haven't done boxing for 3 years. Did some Muay Thai this weekend. Man, have any suggestions how to use boxing in Muay Thai? Heard you've done both. Muay Thai, I was terrible, Lojan. I was absolutely awful at Muay Thai. I just don't feel comfortable kicking for some reason. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I wasn't effective in Muay Thai at all. So you're asking the wrong person. You'd end up getting beat up, bro. Yeah, I just hope I don't end up with one of those experienced guys who want to fight scrubs. Now, usually those white collar events are quite well matched. Usually, they're quite well matched. They're not going to put you in there with somebody who has a lot more experience than you. They shouldn't do anyway. So, because with those white collar things, in my area, you basically sign up. It's like a 6-week training camp. Kind of thing. You do like a little training camp and shit like that. You got to sell some charity tickets, and yeah, I guess you'll be assessed in your training, and then they'll kind of match you based on your skill level. I'm assuming that's how it works. Yeah, big up to Jed, man. Big up to Jed. One second, I'm going to get a drink quick. Get a can of Coke. I'm back. My arms are as long as a guy about 6'2". Yeah, exactly. You got to find what's more comfortable to you. Like our bodies move differently, man, from person to person. It's like what's comfortable to you, really. You kind of find it naturally what style you want to fight in, which is kind of what annoys me about boxing coaches, particularly in the UK. In the UK, they'll try and use like a square peg round hole type of training style. You know, they'll always try and make everyone fight the same way, hands up, just straight punches, etc., etc. They always try and make people fight the same way and train one style in the UK. That's what I found with amateur boxing. There's no like diversity in styles when it comes to amateur coaching in the UK. See, a good trainer should be able to look at somebody, look at them spar, look at how they move, look at their attributes, and then kind of tweak it from there. But like teaching a guy who's 5'4" or 5'5" to like be a straight puncher, jab, right hand, whatever it may be, it's not ideal, is it? You got to teach that guy something different to what you would teach me, for example. But boxing coaching in the UK at amateur level is pretty poor, from my experience. I've not been to many gyms, I have to say. I've been to Queen's Park in Bedford, Hitchin as well. I've been to a few gyms and that, but a lot of the quality of coaching, in my opinion, is pretty poor in the UK. Certainly at amateur level, like club level. I don't like Muay Thai that much either, but it's near me. I did some jabs, but the legs are hard to come by with boxing. But basically Muay Thai, like you stand in front and kick each other, yeah. My best asset is I look bigger than my weight. Friends say I look 6 kilograms heavier than what I am. I want to fight like Mike Tyson, but I'm not built like that. Yeah, exactly. And also, do you plan on losing weight before you fight? Or are you going to fight at your are you going to fight at your like natural walk around weight kind of thing? If I'm losing, I'll disqualify myself. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I thought about doing this whole white collar thing for YouTube. It'd be something a bit different and be a laugh. But if I do like all these training videos and then get fucking flatlines, like I wouldn't upload it. I wouldn't upload it. You'd see all these training videos, yeah, and no fight footage. That means I got fucking iced. Got leveled. The UK style is just boring and basic. They tick all of the boxes. All of the better UK fighters were the Mavericks with unusual or unique styles. So yeah, you could make middleweight then, like 160. I remember years back, my old amateur gym had my mates boxing in the wrong style. My mate was a Wilder fan at the time. He DM'd JD's on Facebook and asked was this style right for a small heavyweight. He was told, box at range. Dees said never argue with your trainer. He knows best. Laugh out loud. That was 2015. Yeah, there you go. That's another thing with boxing. What I found when I was like training, I always used to do my own thing anyway. I never used to listen to trainers that much, to tell you the truth. Obviously, when I first went there, learned the basics and shit. But when I started like realizing how my body worked in a boxing sense, what was comfortable to me, I really did what suited me personally. Like I was not necessarily like a conventional, like technically sound fighter. I was just like super awkward, super long, pouring with a jab. A lot of fencing, moving, feinting. I was just like, yeah, I don't know who I would describe myself to be. Honestly, like maybe Lawrence Okoli, because if someone got close, I'd just fucking hug them to death. But if I caught you on the outside, I could hit pretty hard with a straight right. But yeah, I'd say I was like a shit version of Lawrence Okoli. I guess that's my sort of style. Was told to box at range, and yeah, I've read that. Sorry, man. But yeah, but again, it's JD's energy, man. What do you expect? It's JD's. How good is your chin? Is it normal to feel like you got rocked in your first punch to the head? Yeah, of course it is. It's a weird sensation. It's a weird sensation. I remember the first punch I got hit with, in sparring, it was a fucking jab. Just a solid jab to the nose, and my eyes were fucking watering, man. Like, just a solid jab to the nose. And do you know when your eyes water so much, you feel like you're gonna, like, a teardrop's gonna come out? That's how much my eyes were watering when I got jabbed to the fucking nose. You sound like your style was a combo of Klitschko and Pulev. Yeah, basically, if like Vladimir Klitschko had a stroke and Pulev had a stroke, and they made a stroke baby, that's how I fought. But I was awkward. And I could hit pretty hard with a straight right hand. I couldn't really generate power though. Power with like shorter punches though, like hooks and uppercuts. Oh, I always struggled with that. My balance wasn't the greatest. My balance wasn't great at all. Yeah, I never really got rocked. So I had headaches after sparring and things like that. Do you know when you like the best way I can describe it is like if you've had a spar and you've been hit a few times and you've been hit hard, like when you go into like a light room, for example, it feels like it takes you super long to adjust and the light hurts your eyes kind of thing. You know, light headaches. That's really the worst I got from boxing in terms of headshots. I got dropped to the body a couple of times, though. I can't lie. I did get dropped to the body a couple of times. JD's nuts. But you are focused and trying to defend, so you don't worry about that much. But you are focused on trying to defend, so you don't worry that much. But obviously, you don't want to be taking shots. Exactly, yeah. Exactly, and that's another thing about UK gyms as well. There's a lot of technical sparring, but not much hard sparring in certain gyms, at least. That's why I liked Bedford, Queen's Park, because back when I went there, I'm not sure how it is now, but the sparring was decent. They wasn't like waiting to jump in or telling you to calm down. Like you could have hard spars and shit like that. Get Ben Davison as your trainer. Yeah, boxer size Ben. I'll be his style of fighter. I was somewhat negative. I was somewhat negative. Oh yeah, they'll disqualify you. Yeah, even in white collar. Yeah, 100%. I got the headaches too. After about 6 months of training, the headaches go though. The worst injury I got from boxing, and it wasn't that bad, but I got banged and I got fucking hit in the mouth, and I felt it, and my mouth hurt. And the next day, I realised my middle tooth, like my top left middle tooth, had like a red. It looked like a red wine stain almost, and it was there for weeks and weeks and weeks until I went to the dentist. And yeah, they said that the tooth was bruised, which I never knew could even happen. But yeah, my middle left upper tooth was had this like red streak down it, like a pinky red streak down it. And yeah, my tooth was bruised. And he was saying if a nerve's gone, then it will fall out. But yeah, luckily it repaired itself and it was fine. But that's the worst thing I got from boxing, really. A couple of nosebleeds, not too bad, really, to be honest. Ronaldo, did he score? Oh, that's a good game to watch, you know. That's a good game to watch, isn't it? Do we sneak it on in the background? Bastard. I've got the wrong fucking tab open. Yeah, I wore a gum shield, David Fisher. I think the problem was the gum shield I had was a fucking cheap one, which didn't fit really well. I think that was really the problem. But yeah, I wore a gum shield. But they're not going to let you spar without a gum shield. Not in the UK. They're too soft for that. Yes, John Gonzalez in the house, man. Salute to John. Nice to see you drop by. Hopefully you're keeping well, bro. Out there in Texas. Sunny old Texas. But yeah, John Gonzalez, man, big legend of the BDA family. One of my favourites on the panel, particularly when it comes to the Second Renaissance. Great dude, man. Big up to John Gonzalez. Okay, God, let me just... Got a million tabs open here. Okay, ITV, cool, nice one. Probably going to lag the stream though, because I'm not. Whatever, I'll watch it later. I'm more afraid of a good body shot than a headshot. You don't know whether you want to shit or vomit when you've got a good body shot. Yeah, tell me about it. It's the worst, man. It's the worst. See, that's one thing I could never really get down was the breathing techniques to take body shots. I always kind of timed it wrong. So really, you want to breathe. You want to breathe out as you take the body shot kind of thing, but you can time it wrong and it makes it a lot worse. It's hard to explain. But even breathing techniques is a skill, it's something to learn in boxing. And that's another thing with me actually. So years ago, I got my nose fucking shattered. This wasn't boxing, but I got my nose broke. And my septum's always been bad since, so I struggled to breathe out my nose. So I always used to box, breathing out my mouth, even from round one. And when you get hit with an open mouth, it sounds weird, but it's a lot worse as well. You can break your jaw a lot easier if you get hit when your mouth's open. So yeah, that was another thing with me as well. My septum made it hard for me to breathe through my nose. So. See, I've never pissed blood. I remember when I pissed blood from a hard spar, and I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I was so freaked out I didn't box again. Yeah, it's messed up, man. If blood was coming out my dick, I'd be worried, man. I'd be worried. But yeah, it's natural, mate, to be worried about that. But yeah, apart from that, though, I didn't really get many bad injuries in boxing. The tooth one was the worst. A couple of nosebleeds, a cut lip here and there, but that was really it. A few bruised ribs, but yeah, nothing too crazy. But yeah, that was scary actually, having the whole tooth thing, because I was shook it was going to fall out. I'd rather get knocked out cold than lose a tooth, honestly. I'd rather break a rib, whatever. But losing a tooth, man, I don't know. Okay, I'll just see the goal for Ronaldo. That's cool. Yeah. Portugal were my pick to win the tournament, so hopefully, they beat Germany. Germany don't look anywhere near what they used to be, man. Honestly. CRB1, big up to you, sir. Salute to CRB1. Hopefully you're keeping well. Do you know what? I've been a proper lazy cunt today. I've done absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Anyway, guys, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch this football. Thank you guys for dropping by, though. If you could smash the like on the way out, be much appreciated. And yeah, man, enjoy the fights tonight. I'll do a post-fight review for Rosado and Munguia. Whether I do post-fight reviews for Inoue and the other guy, Jamal Charlo, probably not. But yeah, I mean, I'll do some videos tonight, so watch out for those. But yeah, man, smash the like, boys. Peace.